Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and this little guy here is the Husky 9-in-1 Plumbers Multi-Tool. Kind of an interesting take on the multi-tool. Made in China, sells for about 16 bucks from Home Depot, and its main claim to fame here is it has a PVC or plastic or PEX pipe cutting beak on the front end of it. Other kind of job-specific multi-tools, Klein's got this one that has sort of the hybrid plier front end with stripping and cutting here, as well as knife and screwdriver. This has got a few others I'll get to, and then of course our favorite, the Leatherman, which can have all kinds of different tools built in depending on which one you have. But anyway, this says it has 9 tools, and it actually claims the most common plumbing tools in one. And I thought, you know, when I looked at the tool set, I thought this doesn't even have the top 3 I would grab if I was, you know, heading out on a plumbing job. I'd probably grab a Knipex plier wrench, probably a Cobra, maybe a Monkey wrench. But if I'm doing PEX work or PVC work, I'd probably definitely have a cutter. This is my favorite, this Milwaukee here. These sell for about 30 bucks now. I've had this thing for almost a decade as far as I remember. I love it, works great. I've got replaceable blades for it as well. But anyway, this thing cuts pretty well compared. There is no spring-loaded action here, so I do notice that. I'm so used to the Milwaukee, which does stay in your hand a lot better. Plus, this is a much more, you know, this rubberized surface is much more grippy than this, just because of the corners. The way your hand rolls around the corner, it misses some of these edges, so it's still pretty slippery. But anyway, the Milwaukee easily cuts through this just fine. So does the Husky here. So I could see it being kind of a handy tool to have in your tool bag when you don't want to have, you know, something a little bit more precise like that floating around. You do have to lock this to close it easily. Otherwise, these things start to spread and then they interfere with some of the other tools. So let's see what else is in here. That was number 1. So there are 8 more tools in this thing. This is probably the stupidest tool in here. This is a flashlight. It takes 4 of these tiny watch batteries inside here, and you loosen it up. The O-ring here does not really engage until it's on. And I have found it left on a few times as I've been playing with this. And if I had a plumber who was using this as their flashlight, I would probably look for a new plumber. You need a real flashlight. That is a huge waste of space. It could have been anything else. But anyway, so that's number 2. Number 3, there is kind of a thin sheepfoot knife. It would be nice if this was shorter and stouter rather than long and thin. But, you know, a knife is a knife. The other thing in here is it has a slotted screwdriver right there, and then this is also a sharpened edge, as you can see right there, this curved surface. And my guess is that they are calling that a deburring tool right there. Over on this side, we have got a thin profile, kind of a Leatherman-esque number 2 Phillips. We have got a reamer. This reamer is quite smooth. So I would wonder how well it might grab. You know, I could see maybe on copper tubing, but I don't think it's going to ream anything plastic. And then they call this thing a hacksaw. And this is way not a hacksaw. It's more of a jab saw with this sharp point. So, you know, cutting into drywall, I could certainly see that. Although it does not lock. And to me, using any kind of a push tool like this, it's a pull saw blade, but it's a push to get it in. That's a little gutsy. And it is very similar to the Leatherman saw. If we pull that out, there you can see those two. Definitely not a hacksaw. A hacksaw is what they call this. You probably do better with the ruler, which is another one of the tools on this thing. I think they meant jab saw and somebody wrote hacksaw. You know, it is a Chinese product. think I mentioned that. But anyway, so we've got the PVC cutter, we've got the Phillips screwdriver, slotted screwdriver, deburring tool, the saw, and the ruler, the knife blade, the reamer, and the flashlight. All in this little $16 tool from Home Depot. I can see it being a handy tool for the occasional cutting of pipe, or if you don't want to share your good tools, you're not sure what else is going to be cut with those, this might work. And easily, like maybe for irrigation or something, just out in the field, because I've got a couple other tools inside here. Overall, I do worry if you used it much that it doesn't have replaceable blades. I'm not sure how strong those blades are. They look, you know, looking at it like it should last quite a while for a $16 tool, but I do, I wouldn't use it as a primary tool if you were serious, just as a backup or just to have along. Anyway, there it is, the Husky 9-in-1 Plumbers Multi-Tool. And with that, Doc out.